Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Edinson Cavani is leaving Manchester United. According to Football Insider, Edinson Cavani has reached a verbal agreement to join Boca Juniors at the end of the season. We won't receive a transfer fee because Edinson Cavani's contract expires in June. Solskjaer did say not so long ago that Edinson Cavani is closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Manchester United. Reports in Argentina said a few weeks ago that Edinson Cavani wants to leave Manchester United after one season. His father came out the other week and said that Edinson Cavani is unhappy at the club. He doesn't feel comfortable in England and he wants to leave. Now, earlier on this season, it actually said Cavani wanted to stay at Man United beyond this season, and Solskjaer said he was set for contract extension talks. Cavani hasn't been playing recently because he's been out with injury, but he has made a fantastic impact since he's come in. You know, he's scored goals, his movement in and out of the box has been good, his hold-up play's been good, and he creates chances. We got him on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a second year. We do have an option to trigger his contracts for a further year, but he's probably going to reject the contract extension. Now, I want to give you some news on Eric Bailly. Eric Bailly is furious with Solskjaer. Eric Bailly doesn't feel respected or wanted by him, and Bailly is going to reject a new contract. Solskjaer did confirm not so long ago that we were in talks with Eric Bailly over a new contract. Bailly wasn't part of the squad for the game against AC Milan, and I think this is the main explanation why he is unhappy. Bailly's got around 15 months left on his current contract. Bailly is a very, very good centre-half. He intercepts the ball well. He shows the ability to play out from the back. He's very effective in the air. My only element of concern about Bailly is too injury prone, so in that aspect, he is a liability. I think he's actually got a knock at the moment. Now, Paul Pogba, he could still leave Manchester United in the summer transfer window. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is hoping Paul Pogba stays at Manchester United and he hopes he signs a new contract. Now, Solskjaer has said Man United are in talks with Paul Pogba over a new contract. No formal contract offer has been made yet. Paul Pogba obviously came off the bench against Milan and scored. That was Paul Pogba's first game since the 3-3 draw with Everton. He's just come back from a thigh injury. And I did say he was a big miss. And even Solskjaer said he's been a big miss, because we do lack creativity and we are far too defensive without Paul Pogba. Earlier on this season, he had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him, and his former club Juventus have been in for him. Pogba endured 4 very good years with Juventus before he rejoined Manchester United. Mini Oriola has been desperate to get his client out of the football club. Mini Oriola did say though earlier on this season he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season. He did make an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. Because Mini Oriola doesn't have a good relationship with Man United and he has been criticised a lot. He made the announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, and Solskjaer was furious with Mini Oriola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him, and this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. Earlier on this season, we did trigger that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. If we sell Pogba in the summer, I reckon we'd get from between 60 to 70 million. Paul Pogba's brother, Matthias Pogba, he gave us an update on Pogba's future earlier on this season, and he actually advised us to sell him in the summer, because Matthias Pogba said Paul Pogba could leave for nothing next year. And he said that he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. And I think there's a good chance that Paul Pogba will start tomorrow against Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-final. Obviously, he didn't start against Milan. He come on. I actually thought he might have started against AC Milan. But we are going to sell quite a few players in the summer transfer window, so in that aspect we'll generate money and it will help us with our rebuilding process. Solskjaer said he's planning to sell at least 4 players to bolster our transfer budget. He hopes to raise as much as £60 million. Our transfer budget's already been revealed for the summer. It's 80 million. And we know that's nowhere near enough for us to get the players we want to recommend in. A lot of United fans are saying that we should sell Anthony Martial in the summer, because Anthony Martial has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. He's had chances, but he hasn't converted them. But Solskjaer did say earlier on this season he's backing Martial to rediscover his form. And he said he's been impressed with his work rate. Martial's actually out with a hip injury at the moment. He had an injury just before that. But he doesn't have a long-term future at Man United. We sell Martial in the summer, I reckon we'd get £30 million. Martial was good last season, and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. He's been at the club over 5 years. Nemanja Matic, we could sell him in the summer transfer window because he's not one of our first choice midfielders, but he still gets his chances. And he's done well in some games, but in the vast majority of his games he's been inconsistent. I've always had my strong reservations about him because he's always been a slow player, and plus he's ageing up now. Matic has been at the club almost 4 years. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Juan Mata, there's a good chance we'll offload him in the summer. Mata doesn't get in our team now. Mata's current contract expires in the summer. There is an options trigger for a further year. And earlier on this season, Solskjaer said he wasn't surprised that Juan Mata was linked to a move away from the club. I heard 3 Italian clubs were in for him. But he's done well in the games he's been involved in. I think Mata's had a good career at Man United. He's been at the club now, is it over 6 years? We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. And earlier on this season, he rejected an £18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Phil Jones, I want us to offload him this year. He doesn't get in our 11. I'm surprised we didn't offload Phil Jones in January, but Solskjaer said he's going to be given a second chance. Jones has been out of injury for over a year. This is his 10th season at Man United, so he's been a long servant. He's the only outfield player that's still here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. David De Gea, I think there's a good chance we'll sell him in the summer, so we can make Dean Henderson our first choice goalkeeper. I think Dean Henderson is now reliable enough to become our number one because he's done well in the games he's played in this season. Hasn't conceded in the Premier League so far this year and kept another clean sheet recently against Milan and made some very good saves. And plus Henderson endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. You know, at the start of this season, Henderson signed a 6-year contract with the club, and Paul Scholes has come out and said that Dean Henderson has now overtaken David De Gea as our first choice goalkeeper. But Solskjaer did admit earlier on this season that it's becoming more and more difficult to leave Dean Henderson out of the side. But yeah, we sell De Gea in the summer. I reckon we'd get around £50 million. De Gea hasn't been playing, has he, in recent games, because not so long ago he was out due to personal reasons, and not so long ago he was self-isolating in Manchester. Earlier on this season, Ole warned De Gea that his number 1 jersey was under threat. This is De Gea's 10th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant. A few years ago, he was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world, but in the last couple of years, De Gea has made calamitous mistakes, so reflecting on that, he's become a liability. And he's won everything domestically at the club. I think there's a good chance De Gea will go back to Spain. Main explanations is because he was born in Spain, his relatives are from Spain, his girlfriend's from Spain, began his footballing career in Spain, and back in 2015 he was close to joining Real Madrid, but due to a fax machine the deal never materialised. De Gea has just 2 years left on his current contract. He's on £375,000 a week. And I think we'll be looking to get rid of Lingard permanently, because since he's gone out on loan to West Ham, he's made a fantastic impact, and I think we'll be looking to get rid of Diego Dalot permanently. So we sell all them players will generate a substantial amount. This year's summer transfer window, though, is the biggest in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career. Man United have identified 5 key transfer targets. We're looking to get a striker. We're looking to get a defensive midfielder. We're looking to get a centre-half. We're looking to get a right-back. And it says we've actually been looking at a few goalkeepers who could possibly replace De Gea, but we don't need a goalkeeper. I'm expecting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to get the backing he deserves in the summer transfer window, because obviously we've got John Murtaugh. He's our director of football. He's our first ever director of football, by the way. And John Murtaugh knows the club inside out because he's been at Man United for like 7 or 8 years. And obviously Darren Fletcher, he's a technical director and he knows the club through thick and thin. He endured 2 decades as a player for Manchester United. And Solskjaer has had the transfer summit with our new recruitment team. You know, he was discussing our transfer targets and he was discussing our transfer plans for the summer in general. Not so long ago, Woodward did a statement and he says the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing Solskjaer. The summer transfer window is going to be Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. So far, he's endured 4 transfer windows at the club. Yet he has made some good signings, but as yet, he hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in. And Woodward has come out several times to show his support for Ole, and he did say towards the end of last year he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. And even enjoying them bad periods under Ole, Woodward come out and assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job was safe. because obviously our board have got a soft stance on Solskjaer with him being a club legend. Solskjaer set to have his final say on our transfer incoming deals. He did say earlier on this season, we may not do business as usual in the summer transfer window due to the pandemic, but he said he's only interested in bringing in players that will be a perfect fit for the club. We are planning for a long-term future under Solskjaer. And like I've said time and time again, I don't think he is the long-term manager for Man United, but I hope I'm proven wrong. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has agreed to sign a new contract worth £9 million a year. So we've given him a pay rise. Sources at Old Trafford did say that talks are set to begin any day on the new deal, because later on this month, Ole enters the final year of his 3-year contract. But analysing it, I think Ole does deserve a new contract, reflecting on the progress he's made in the last year or so, because we've enjoyed very, very good periods under Ole, where we have seen consistency and where he has got the best out of the team in some of them good periods. He's improved certain players. And I've probably got to say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the best manager since Sir Alex Ferguson. We've got to credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in quite a few aspects. We're second in the Premier League. At one point, he got us top of the Premier League. That's obviously when we was in the title race, but there was a period where we dropped too many points, so that's why we're no longer in the title race now. Obviously, top 4 is our aim in the league, and I can assure we will get top 4 now, reflecting on that win against West Ham. I think there's a good chance we'll finish second this season. Solskjaer's got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals, got us to the Europa League quarter-finals. I think the Europa League is Man United to lose now. I think we actually are the favourites to win it. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost 2-0 to Man City. Did well last season in his first full season at the club. Got us to 3 semi-finals. So in total at the moment he's got us to 4 semi-finals. He got us a 3rd place finish last season. That was the second highest we've finished since Ferguson. And he got us qualification for the Champions League. And Solskjaer's also got rid of a lot of players since he came in. I also like the way he's promoted the youth. We've got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. So you've got to credit him in them aspects. But I've already said Solskjaer needs to win a trophy at Manchester United this year. So that obviously marks more progress. So I'm saying the exact same thing as what Gary Neville recently said. Solskjaer's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager, and he's been Man United manager over 2 years, and we haven't won a trophy since 2017, and we know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. But we win a trophy this season, we finish second, I'll turn around and say, yeah, that represents a good season for Man United, and that gives us something to build on going on into next season. I've already told you my big concerns about Ole. But I think reflecting now on Ole's been here, he's learnt quite a bit on the job and he has gained some managerial experience. Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. Before he was with us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. And before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff, and his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. He only enjoyed a short tenure with Cardiff because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. Ole did manage the Man United reserve team for a couple of years. But I think Solskjaer's handled things very, very well, because he knew when he'd taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. And to say he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager, I think he's done well. You know, we've enjoyed very bad periods under him where he's actually very close to being sacked. But if we'd have sacked Solskjaer, it wouldn't have solved anything anyway. Because when we've been inconsistent, not all of the blame has stemmed from Ole anyway. It's never all the manager's fault. You know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson. We've sacked 3 managers since Ferguson, even though we're not really known as a sacking football club. You know, we sacked Moyes after 10 months. He's the worst manager I think we've ever had. We finished 7th under the Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning 3 trophies in his first season. And Mourinho got 2nd in his first season. So Mourinho did enjoy one good season with Man United. Mistakes have been made in the last 8 years, and that's why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. Like I said, regarding the board, they've been one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time. You know, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. The managers that we've had haven't got the players they wanted to recommend in, and we've also overpaid for players. We spent over £1 billion. But I've got to say, there's good players at Man United, and there's players that have really, really improved. You know, Dean Henderson, he's done well in the games he's been in this season. He's had a run of games, hasn't he, as Dean Henderson, which is good to see. Luke Shaw, he's been immense. He's been a player of the season by far. I like the way Luke Shaw's got forward. He's got into good positions. His crossing's been good. He's provided width, and defensively Shaw's been superb. Shaw has been at the club over 6 years. I think he's had a good career at Man United apart from his injuries, and Shaw still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Alex Telles. And Eric Bailly, you know, I've been very impressed with him in the games he's been involved in. Harry Maguire, he's done well in some games this season where he's showed the ability to play out from the back, and he's been effective in the air, and defensively he's been good. But despite that, he still wasn't worth the £80 million we got him for. He's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment, and he's the 2nd most expensive signing at the club behind Paul Pogba. You know, Victor Lindelof can do well in some games. He's done well in his last couple of games as Victor Lindelof, to his credit. You know, he's defended well, he's got forward quite well, he's made some good interceptions. I like the way he kept Zlatan at bay in the second half of the game against AC Milan. I don't know if Lindelof's got a long-term future at Man United. You know, he's been at the club now quite a few years. We got Lindelof in a deal worth £31 million from Benfica. But despite his good performances recently, I've still got Miss John reservations about him. Like I've said time and time again, I do prefer Bay to Lindelof. And Wan-Bissaka, you know, I think he's done well in some games this season where he's got forward well, he's got into good positions, his crossing's been quite good, and defensively, Wan-Bissaka's been good. We got Wan-Bissaka in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace in the summer of 2019. You know, Fred, I think aspects of his game have improved. You know, when Fred plays well, he gets forward well. He can hold up play well as well. You know, he can have some chances. He can pass the ball well. But he's also enjoyed some poor games. Fred is not at that level as I want him to be as yet, but hopefully can emulate to that level. Fred's been at the club a few years. We got him in a deal worth £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. And, you know, McTominay, he's a decent player, but I'm going to say the same thing as what I've just said regarding Fred. McTominay's not at that level as yet. Can he emulate to that level? Well, McTominay's young. He's still got a lot of development in him. Just after the first lockdown, McTominay signed a 5-year contract with Man United, so he committed his future with the club. Pogba, he's done very, very well. Did well against Milan. Did well before he got that thigh injury. Donny van der Beek, he's also a good player when he plays. He's played nowhere near as much as I expected. Most of Donny van der Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. Now, I've been reading up about Van der Beek recently, and it says Van der Beek feels loved at the club despite his lack of game time. But just before that, it actually come out and said that Donny van der Beek wants to quit Man United after 1 season due to his lack of game time, and he said he wanted to hold showdown talks with Ed Woodward over his future. Now, earlier on this season, Solskjaer made an admission saying that obviously Van der Beek was unhappy at the club due to his lack of game time, but he promised him more game time at Man United. Back in January, ESPN said that we rejected several loan offers for Van der Beek because we was reluctant to let him go, and even Ronald de Boer urged him to leave to boost his chances for the Euros. We got him in a deal worth 40 million, and he's versatile as well. He can play in 3 different roles. He's just come back from injury, by the way, as Van der Beek. Must have missed our last 7, or is it 8 games now? Bruno Fernandes, he's made a difference, hasn't he, in the team? He's our best player, and he's the best signing we've probably made since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. In most of Bruno Fernandes' games, he's been very, very consistent, but there's also been a few games where he has looked off the pace, and I think at some point he does need a rest because we've overplayed him. There was narratives coming out not so long ago saying that Fernandes was refusing to sign a new contract until he has assurances over the club's transfer plans. Says we was willing to double his wages to £200,000 a week. Fernandes did say on his 12-month anniversary that he's planning on spending many years at Manchester United. He's been at the club already over the year. And he's won Player of the Month quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. But Bruno Fernandes wants to help the club win trophies, because when he first came in, he said, I've come to Manchester to win trophies, so he denied that he needed a rest. He's been a bit out of form recently, Fernandes, to be honest with you. Mason Greenwood, I think he's done very, very well since he broke into our first team squad. Mason Greenwood made his senior debut in 2019. He's gone on to make 80-odd first team appearances. Greenwood's been at United since the age of 7. Earlier on this season, he signed a new 4-year contract with the club. Sometimes we play Mason Greenwood on the right wing, and sometimes we play him centrally. Ole has been defending him a lot this season, but Greenwood is a player that's young, he's got a lot of development in him, he can make good runs down that right-hand flank, he can cut inside players and he can create good chances. And can score goals, but hasn't been scoring of late, has he? Even though he's had good games. Marcus Rashford, he's a good player. I think at some point, he needs a rest. Marcus Rashford's out of injury at the moment. He sustained an injury against AC Milan. Solskjaer said it was a twinge. We just need to keep Marcus Rashford out wide on the left because that's where he's more effective. But we have put him on the right wing before and we've played him centrally. And like I said, Edinson Cavani's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. So these good players at Man United. And I said, analysing our current squad, it is good enough to finish at least in the top 4. But as it stands at the moment, it is not good enough to win the Premier League. I don't know when we'll next win the league. I think it's going to take at least 2-3 years for us to win another title, maybe even longer. It all depends on how we recruit and all of that. A lot of United fans are sceptical we'll win a title under Ole. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. Anyway, on my next video, I'll be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of our game against Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-final. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.